What is going on, everybody? Primetime 39, I am your host, Cyrus the Looney. We have a crazy night of fights ahead of us. In the booth with me tonight, though, is Doctor Who, the matchmaker, all-around legend of kind of Primetime at the moment. Doc, you're putting in a lot of work and getting in the commentary with us once again this evening, brother. Like I said, crazy night of fights ahead of us. LW Attican up against Bang Bang at the top of the card, which is a crazy fight, especially considering it's a short notice replacement for Bang Bang stepping in there, Doc.
Well, Bang Bang's on a 4-fight win streak, and across the board, I think Bang Bang's kind of built this notorious thing of He may not be a short notice replacement, but he's one hell of a fighter. He'll come at you non-stop pressure and just look for that kill. Further down the card, you got Kobe on a 4-fight win streak. Kart's making his PT return. You've got the mighty Broomstick and Nige, M-Town as well. You got the two EK boys, a Slick and Jakey. And then you also got a couple good fights. You got Hummer making his PT return, as I said, and you got PL1 Hayes also making his return. So it seems like this may be the card of returns, to be fair.
Yeah, it's good to see some of the names come back and, trying to make another run at things. I know PL1 Hayes went around. He was a fantastic boxer. Apparently he's been working on other elements of his game, was talking a lot of trash in the UFC 4, Primetime Discord server, but obviously these guys, they're used to doing that sort of thing, and they've got to back it up when it comes to stepping in the cage itself. So starting us off, brother, I do believe that we have LW Gemini, first LW man of the evening. Obviously his campmate in the main event later on this evening. He's going to be taking on a gentleman called Crazy Elmatic, or that's his tag that I have on the section. So that's TK
Hummer, I believe, on the PS side.
Shit, okay, so yeah, TK Hummer making his return. This is his debut after a good, it was like a 6-month break from his competition. So interesting to see what he's able to do. And obviously he's moved across now from the Xbox to PlayStation dock, and we've seen a lot of these guys do it. It seems to pan out for a lot of them.
Yeah, well, indeed, you've got this more on the least words. At least when it comes to the PS side, it seems a lot more focused on the striking element, which when you have a lot of strikers on the grappling, not strikers on the grappling, I've lost my train of thought.
No, I know what you mean. When you've
That's
got
an impressive stuff.
A lot of the Xbox guys obviously go into the grappling element of it, and considering that on the PlayStation side of things, it seems to be a lot more striking based. A lot of these guys seem to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that, and sets up their hands quite nicely. But we've seen some go fantastically well, some not so much. Obviously, Hummer's been away for quite some time now from us, but I know he's been actively competing all around, trying to keep those reps up, and I imagine he's going to try and make a bit of a statement here this evening against somebody from LW that is on the up and up out there, Doc. He seems to be a little bit of a prospect, does Gemini, from the little bits that I do hear and see.
Yeah, well, Gemini's been a massive prospect recently. He's part of one of that LW camp, as you mentioned, so he's pretty good all round. On that note, you've also got Hummer, who's, again, TK. We haven't seen the TK camp around very much, but they are still pretty good in the striking department. Hummer going Holloway is already starting to put his action in the pocket. It's bound to be a banger of a fight.
Yeah. Wouldn't expect anything less from somebody like TK Hummer, man. We've seen it on the Xbox side of things. He's really, really active with the hands, but he's eating a bunch of heavy shots from LW Gemini. Knee intercept from TK Hummer, mixing up the combinations. Seems to be getting that head health relatively low pretty quickly out here, Dog. He's doing a good job of mixing up to the body and the head.
Yeah, he really is. This is kind of the ideal, though. If you can get that mixing up to the body, mixing up to the head, especially against Holloway, you're going to have a lot more success. The main idea is to work that body, reduce the cardio Holloway, and then start picking them apart in the head.
Yeah, for sure, brother. I like what Gemini's doing, though, mixing in those head kicks, trying to throw them up high. Obviously, just like that, a lot of chip damage, and when you do get a nice big counter, especially with somebody like Volkov out here, Dog, he hits so hard you feel every single one of them.
You really do, and it's a massive difference between Holloway and Volkanovski. Volkanovski's got that power, he's got the cardio as well. Holloway, on the other hand, is there purely to pepper shot after shot, and you can't start flowing with him, you're going to have an issue, which is what Hummer's kind of having here.
Yeah, he was doing really good early, but he's getting caught with some kicks on the inside and a couple of big counters. Looks like Gemini's getting a bit creative, but that's a nice little front kick from TK Hummer. He is the, longer fighter in terms of the legs at least, so maybe if he's able to utilize some of those teeps and knees to the body just like that, he may start having a little bit more success come the second half of this first round, but it is pretty back and forth, Doc. Both guys really tried to do all they can to find the openings for that big power shot.
Yeah, big openings, seen the overhand a few times. Hummer now finally finds the opening, a spinning back fist there, and a minute 40 left on the clock. Both of them are going back and forth in this big fight.
TK Hummer, bro, like I said, he always comes to throw those hands. He makes the fight entertaining no matter which way it goes. Right now, he seems to be changing momentum in his favor, but Has to be careful. Once again, Volkanovski landing with a couple of big shots, getting that head health pretty low. Just after 1 or 2 shots, it's clearly bleeding through very, very nicely for him. But the combos, Doc, like you called from TK Hammer, sits him down, and now he's hunting for the finish. He may even get it.
Well, that's some good defense. Finally gets out of the back row, and that's what you want. Got top mount here. Volkanovski's Fado and the Stam does get the deny, and this is risky for Hummer because in either position, you got top mount and you got backside. Doesn't get it and ends up in this full guard.
Yeah, it changes quite a lot when you take the back. Obviously, the RNC not available within prime time. He finds himself in full guard now, though, and not a lot of time to work, but he did get a couple of denials off there, Doc, which probably give him a little bit of confidence, and we kind of alluded to this prior to the match. Some of these Xbox guys come across, they're a little bit more well-versed on the ground, and when it does hit the mat, even though a lot of them don't want to go there, they seem to have that little bit of an edge, in that kind of realm, but we'll have to see if that plays a factor. If I'm Volkanovski in this situation, I think you'd agree, Doc. Probably even mixing in a takedown of your own, maybe a route to success, just to get some momentum back on your side. Or just something like that, brother. Big head kick rocks him.
Big head kick indeed. Both of them fairly similar on the stamina. Head kick just gets to KO.
Didn't waste any time. I mean, this guy's a prospect for a reason. Obviously, an up-and-comer from the LW camp. Ends this first fight in a pretty emphatic fashion, and lovely head kick landed perfectly on TK Hammer. Sends him to sleep in the second round early on. Obviously, TK Hammer showed a good account of himself in that first round, though, Doc. He landed a couple of nice combinations, was able to get his opponent hurt a number of times, but unfortunately leans in the wrong way and eats that head kick straight to the dome in this one.
Yeah, it really does. You've always got to be careful when it comes to that head movement. Like, you can be winning a fight, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up surviving it.
Yeah, no, for sure. The head kicks can be the bane of many of us, including myself, brother. Including myself, as you well know, can run into a couple of troubles when that head kick is thrown out there, especially when they're pretty well timed and not really telegraphed. Just like Gemini was doing, he was mixing them in very, very nicely, keeping them off beat, and obviously that's ultimately was what was able to close the show out. But up next, brother, we have Fatal up against the Moffat Man. The Moffat Man, another gentleman that was stepping in on short notice this evening to take this fight against a Fatal. This one is in the Bantamweight division. It appears that we are going to be having Peter Yan up against Jose Aldo, unless we have any last-minute changes from them. But yeah, it looks like we're about ready to go on this one, my man. We're just going to get straight into it. Obviously, it's a fun matchup, Doc. Peter Yan, Aldo. Yan's got nice kicks, but mainly in his hands. And then obviously Jose Aldo's got those superb kicks with really, really nice power in the hands to follow behind.
Well, it's interesting. The fact with Yan is he probably should be a 5-star fighter. He's brilliant across the board, and it's kind of weird. Aldo, on the other hand, has good leg kicks, as you said. He's got a proper base, body hooks as well to add to addition. So, although it does seem like they're fairly similar fighters, Yan's probably more well-versed just because of his health stats, the perks such as the Force of Nature. So, once he gets going, it's very hard to stop him. And so that will definitely lean into the favour of the Moffat Man.
Yeah, I agree with you there, brother. I agree with you. He does have a lot of advantages on the side of Peter Yan in terms of the endurance and so on. But obviously, we don't want to be sleeping on Aldo. Personally, one of my favorite picks in this one, just because of the Muay Thai base that we were mentioning a moment ago there, Doc. He has a lot of options to kind of mix it up no matter where he wants to go on the feet, and of course, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to fall back on should it hit the mat. But a couple of nice shots from the Moffat Man early, Doc, trying to make sure that his opponent feels his presence with a couple of stunning shots straight down the center. Obviously following up with a couple of leg kicks, which is nicely timed as well.
Yeah, well, so far, both of them are throwing leg kicks, both of them are trying to establish his distance. That triple jab also coming out, but so far, Fatal is having the issue of he can't work out his distance. He's expecting his opponent to come into the pocket, and he just isn't getting it. Finally goes for the takedown, does get it. Lovely job there. Don't see many Aldo shooting for the takedown, but he does have a very effective ground game.
Yeah, he really does. The way that he was doing that then, just in terms of the pressure was coming at him, Moffat Man seemed like he was on fire on the feet, sidestepping strikes, landing a number of blistering shots of his own. So I think that single leg was nicely timed and much needed, Doc. But obviously has to make sure that he makes the most of this. He has to be positional more than anything else, because otherwise something like that will happen, my man. And, you know, obviously now he finds himself on bottom. Peter Yan has some heavy hands down here as well. The ground and pound can be ferocious, so has to mind all of his P's and Q's, unless he decides to separate. But once again, you're kind of back in his world there, right, Doc?
You really are. Well, on the ground as well, it was kind of interesting. Fatal just gave up a very dominant position like top mount for, I would argue, a less dominant position of side control, especially you can't get that first 9. Now we're back on the feet, as you said, and it's mainly the straight shots here, but again, Moffat Man just seems to have that establishment of that jab. He's coming in with that straight after Fatal has already thrown most of his shots.
Yeah, right now I'm liking the mix-up. Moffat Man trying to go to that body nice and, you know, heavily in this later part of the first round, trying to really put some money in the bank, getting Aldo to whiff a couple of shots as well, because he was looking pretty clean in terms of the stamina. Was good old Fatal going into the second half of this first round, but the Moffat Man mixing it up very nicely and being able to equalize it so far.
Yeah, they're both fair now. They've kind of established each other's jab, both picking each other. That slip straight by Fatal's probably going to do the most, but if you slip into a hook like that, that's going to cause issues. Moffat again slips another straight, digs down to that body afterwards. It seems to be the case of who can land the better slip straight.
Yeah, that was a lovely check from Jose Aldo, but I mean, it's not dissuading the Moffat Man, not one little bit. This man is on a mission, brother. I don't know what he did to get ready for this fight, but he is on another level this evening with his striking, really mixing it together perfectly, scattergunning techniques all around the cage, and he has just been able to rip off massive amounts of damage. Maybe a little bit too overconfident there, though, brother, as, you know, a couple of big shots getting back, you know, getting through to him in those final 15-20 seconds. Has to be careful not to be overzealous. Aldo is dangerous until the very end.
Aldo really is dangerous. He's got a 5-star leg kick and a 5-star body hook. He's gonna, when he hits cleanly, he's gonna hit cleanly, and that's the scariest part. The issue when it comes to Yan is he's just a very difficult fighter to put away, even though you saw that 28 significant strikes to 7, and Aldo's got to build up from that point now and dig deep and find out where to go from here.
Yes, exactly right, my man, exactly right. Going to be very difficult if Moffat Man starts it out with the same sort of pace that he ended the last one with, which is exactly what he's doing here, Doc, mixing it up with a couple of combinations. Already has Aldo, you know, kind of regretting this fight maybe just a little bit on the backtrack, trying to hide behind that block, but the Moffat Man's so all over the striking, and now the takedown defense, it does look like the momentum is building in his favor.
Well, it's also the thing of when someone's leg's gone, you don't know if you're going to get kicked in the leg or you don't know if you're going to get kicked in the head, and that's what we saw earlier by the Moffat Man. He went for a couple of leg kicks, then went for a head kick and landed cleanly, just because of the fact Aldo won't know what he's going to go for.
Yeah, no, he's doing such a good job of mixing it up and just continually pressuring Aldo, making sure that, you know, he kind of gets into a war of attrition, even really digging deep, making sure that Aldo has to go to those deep waters. And, you know, as we see right there, those body uppercuts, they've been a staple of this fight throughout the entire thing. He's gone to them time and time again. It's done fantastically at evening out the body and the stamina between the two opponents, and, you know, really starting to attack that body and get that health down. But once again, Fatal finds himself in top control with a lot of time to work here, Doc, but maybe getting too active with the grappling, the ground and pound even. Yeah, that reversal was kind of almost imminent, right, when you throw in that many strikes from a position like that.
Looking for this crucifix position now, finally got it. He did look for it earlier in the first round, didn't get it, got straight back up. Now into side saddle, you can get quite a bit of damage off here, especially with your opponent's head up blinking. He's got to be aware that denial is going to cause big issues. Yeah,
he has a lot of time to work here, gets out of the side saddle, goes instantly back into crucifix. That's this is pretty rough for Aldo when he was already in a pretty dire situation already, Doc. Now the strikes are going to continue to mount up from, you know, very advantageous positions. But, I mean, that's pretty surprising, right? He was in such a strong position. I mean, The stacked arm's pretty dangerous too, though.
Oh, I was about to mention, it's weird because you're in such a dominant position that even if you're going to spend half your time just circling around positions because your opponent keeps getting out of a strong position, you're still doing at least some damage, but evidently he was happy with that. Gets the straight there, jumps on him, 50 seconds left on the clock, and going for that body work instead.
Yeah, he feels in complete control, does Moffat Man at this stage. Still has to be, careful, though. Aldo is still dangerous, like I said, even with low stamina and low head health. It only really takes one well-timed shot to completely level the playing field, but the Moffat Man really utilizing his jab pretty well. Maybe leaving himself a little bit vulnerable, considering, with...
Oh! That was a nice spinning elbow, to be fair. Lovely job there by Moffat Man, finally finding a shot to actually fully get the KO.
Yeah, he was peppering him with little shot after little shot throughout that entire kind of second and third round, but just to find that spinning elbow right there was perfectly timed. I believe Aldo was going for a body hook, maybe? Maybe he was going for an overhand.
Straight by the looks of it.
Straight either way. He lowers his guard just for that moment, Doc, and walks straight onto a beautiful spinning elbow, nicely timed. Closing out the show in a big way. Moffat Man's going to be feeling pretty happy with that performance. All round, you've got to imagine his ability to evade his opponent's strikes for the most part. Obviously, his ability to land some nice countering shots there, Doc, and ultimately close out the show was very impressive from a man that took this fight on very short notice.
It really was a lovely job there by Moffat Man. It was interesting again to see him not using his cutoff. I'm actually kind of interested to see how he does develop when he uses regular fighters.
Yeah, he is. He has been known previously to be a calf player, but seems to be opting for the for the more regular picks these days, and he's having a lot of success with them. So maybe it's a winning kind of recipe for him there, brother. But up next, we are moving on to TMF's 3-star God Machine Gun, also known as F. Mahon. He is going to be fighting a short notice replacement in Purple Urkel, the stepping in for a gentleman called Herb Dank, I believe. So now these guys are going to be throwing down. This is on PlayStation, am I correct there?
Yes, indeed, it's PlayStation. We're going to see how Machine Gun does again. He's always an interesting fight. He comes out with some mental picks, and so you're never particularly sure what to expect from the guy, to be honest.
No, you definitely don't know what to expect from F. Mahon or Machine Gun, TMF's 3-star fighter. Other than he is going to bring the action, he's going to taunt every time he gets you hurt and make sure that you, that even if you are in a position where you're slightly ahead, he's going to be continually looking for that finish. He's going to be taunting you every step of the way and really trying to play those mind games. It's what makes Machine Gun such an entertaining fighter out there, Doc, because he's often able to back up all of the talk that he does in and out of the cage with some lovely striking that he's developed over a long time. But Purple Urkel, of course, is a man that holds the quickest knockout in primetime history. Is that still his record?
I wasn't aware he held the quickest knockout.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it's the 30-second knockout, or unless I'm mixing him up with Magical Cloud.
It may be Magical Cloud. It may be Purple Urkel. I'm not particularly sure which one it is, to be fair. We've got the Whittaker Sonnen pick. Sonnen has got some fun boxing. He's always had done, in my opinion. Health stat-wise, probably not the best, especially against the Whittaker, but hey, it's Machine Gun. It's what he does.
Yes, sir. He goes for Chael Sonnen, has some lovely power in those hands, instantly taunting Whittaker, does not want to touch the glove, but now he's going to find that he has a little bit of an uphill battle. Purple Urkel's been around the block, he knows how to fight in every single kind of element of this game, Doc, and not going to be easy to put out the game, but if anybody can do it, it's Machine Gun, let's be honest.
Yeah, Machine Gun is kind of one of these weird fighters that, although he may not have a good record, if you actually look at his fights themselves, he's very impressive for how much he's literally fighting uphill with some of these fighter picks. Whittaker is just happy to trade in pocket. Urkel not really concerned about the damage he's taking from Machine Gun here.
Yeah, no, he's never really concerned about it when you've got such a dominant pick, and that can sometimes be fighters' undoing. They see that their opponent's gone for a really low-rated fighter, and as a result, they kind of wade through some damage that they wouldn't necessarily be, allowing to be themselves to be hit by, just because they expect to be getting the better of the trades. But of course, somebody like Machine Gun out here, dog, he specializes in this sort of battle. He's used to fighting this uphill kind of game, so this is exactly something that he's going to be looking for his opponents to do, and something that Purple Urkel has to be wary of not falling into.
I do agree. Finally goes for a takedown. That's going to be a different change of pace. 2 minutes 30 left on the clock, and if he can start doing the damage here, he's going to play massive dividends coming into probably the second round. I doubt he'll be able to get the finish now. You're never particularly sure.
Yeah, no, we shall see what he's gonna do over here. I mean, he has a lot of tools in his bag, does good old Machine Gun, but not able to hold the position with the bad guy. Purple Urkel works his way back to the feet, knees on the exit, and straight back onto the pressure. But just like that, dog, he's eaten a lot of shots inside, and let's be frank. I mean, Chael Sonnen does have heavy hands. It doesn't take too many of those heat seekers to really change the entire fight.
Well, I think he goes under the premise of, dare I say, a K1 Maya player. Like, you don't expect someone to come out and strike with someone like a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu artist. And so that means, as you mentioned countless times, it's kind of going to be the story of this fight is, can Machine Gun sneak the shots in and hit Whittaker when he doesn't realize he's as vulnerable as he is, to be fair?
No, exactly, brother. Exactly right. This is a little bit of a different approach, though, Doc, right? From Machine Gun going for these takedowns. He has picked Chael Sonnen, so it makes sense that he's going for this, but we've seen him in the past do multiple picks like this and not go for that takedown. So maybe some of these losses that he's narrowly let slip through his fingers in past performances are starting to weigh on him, and he's starting to take this a little bit more serious. Even though he's still going with the three-star fighters, he's going to mix it up and really implement his full game.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I've only really known Night Legacy as a grappler, so Machine Gun himself going, not a grappler, as a striker. So
yeah.
seeing grapple is going to be an interesting time indeed.
I mean, obviously, one of the key elements over here, Doc, is going to be whether or not he's able to be patient enough on the ground. On the feet, he's a man that really likes to push the action. He obviously wants to get into the thick of it, but of course, as you can attest to, on the ground, it's a little bit of a different story. You really do need to, bide your time and look for your openings. Otherwise, you allow your opponents, an easy sub or reversal get up, whatever they can muster up in that situation.
Yeah, it's a very much a patience game. Whoever can stay patient the longest does get it. Where to getting the drop, those clearly not wanting to stay patient, narrowly avoids getting the finish there, and that's 40 seconds into the second round.
Yeah, he's pushing the pace as he should be, really, up against Chael Sonnen. Of course, he's going to have the better start fighter, going to have the better statistics, and should win a lot of the battles if he chooses, the times of entry very, very well. But he's doing a little bit of a better job of it right now. I think that he was walking onto a little bit too much in that first round, just like that. I said it. Instantly, Machine Gun finds his opening, and that's why he's so dangerous. Purple Urkel's definitely going to have to keep it tight here in order not to, overextend himself and allow Machine Gun an easy way to get into this fight, because he should win this based on the fighter he's picked and obviously his skill level. Oh! Yeah,
but again, when he gets that hook, that rear hook seems to play the most dividends within his entire fighting style. It's just making sure to land it. Whiffs that, fakes a high kick. Both of them now staying fairly patient. That head kick lands, and now aggression starting to be put on by Purple Urkel.
Yeah, he's really turning it up. He feels like the finish is nigh, and it is. Nice ground and pound to close out their show. Purple Urkel taking advantage of some of the some of the openings that Machine Gun was leaving in the striking. Got a little bit overzealous in his own right. He was allowing Purple Urkel to walk onto him a lot of the case in the first round, but in the second round, Purple Urkel just timed that a little bit better. A lot of lateral movement from him, and once he was able to catch Machine Gun, he just didn't let off him, Doc. He continued that pressure until the job was done.
That's kind of the story, especially when you fight someone like a Chael Sonnen and with not the best health stats in the world. If you can, as soon as they're hurt and you start to put on this pressure, you're going to have a lot more success and a lot easier time of it.
Yeah, exactly right, my man. Exactly right. Up next there, Doc, we are going to be having two gentlemen. I believe that's going to be on the PlayStation side of things once again. It's going to be Spooky G up against Sir Psycho in the lightweight division. Is that correct, my man?
I believe so.
Great stuff. Just going to nip across to those guys right now. Make sure that they're all lobbied up and ready to go. It does not appear they are. I think he's cut in a couple of pounds at the last moment there, Doc, but we'll give him a couple of seconds. If not, of course, we will be having one of the kind of oldest veterans in the game, Honest Jim, taking on kind of a previous veteran, PL1 Hayes, after that long extended break. So we will see if that's going to be the next bout. I think it is going to be. They are ready to go. We will hear whether or not Spooky G and Sir Psycho are going to be continuing on this card. If they are ready by the next fight, of course, we will get straight into it. But for right now, two men that are biting at the bit to get involved with this fight. It's going to be PL1 Hayes up against Honest Jim. And this one in the bantamweight division, Doc, it looks like Peter Yan, Dominic Cruz appears to be their picks.
Well, Peter Yan Cruz, we've already seen the Yan pick. He's across the board effective, good boxing, good kicking, good grappling. Dominic Cruz, on the other hand, if I remember correctly, Jim's got a really interesting Cruz. It's kind of one of his out there picks, but still effective. The one issue I can see being the problem, though, is the fact Cruz doesn't hit very hard. I think he's only got about 85 to 89 punch power, so it's going to be an interesting time seeing these two compete.
That it is, brother, that it is, and they are loading in as we were speaking. No time to waste. They're going to be throwing down now. Obviously, Honest Jim, as we've alluded to many times in the past, has fantastic grappling. Obviously, can box with some of the best in the biz. Is he TMF still over there, Doc? Is he? So he was rocking the TMF last I heard.
I believe so.
Right, not to worry, not to worry. But he's a savage. He's been around. He's been a veteran within many of the gyms within PrimeTime MMA and really every other community that's out there. He does a fantastic job of mixing in the wrestling with the pressure that he brings to the table, but of course has to mind all of his P's and Q's, the crispy, clean boxing from Billy Colley, or also known as PL1 Hayes. Is something to behold. He's knocked out some of the best in the biz by just keeping to what he does best, and that's really where he excels, is in that boxing realm, Doc.
Both of them playing fairly aggressive. Does miss that clinch attempt already against the black line, so Hayes has definitely got to start trying to put on this pressure. It's interesting to see a Cruz try to pressure Looney.
Yeah, it's nice. He has a lot of evasive maneuvers available to him, so he can use a lot of that, forward movement just to draw out some of the shots of his opponent. And I think that's what Honest Jim was doing really well just then, as he sets up that ankle pick with Dominic Cruz. Lovely timing on it. Now finds PL1 Hayes underneath him with 3 minutes 30 on the clock, Doc. Somebody like Honest Jim can take full advantage of that. If he's bringing his kind of A game to this grappling exchange, even. Sorry.
Yeah, no. If Jim can start getting this A game off, he's going to have a really. Hayes is going to have a difficult time, because it's just a case of Jim's very much. He's suffocating. That's the word I was looking for. He's suffocating. He's aggressive, and you just end up stuck underneath him, and that may be the issue Hayes is going to play, because Cruz has got some good wrestling base, to be fair.
Yeah, he really does. And like you mentioned, I mean, he has a kind of stick-to-you type style once he decides to enter the grappling kind of element of his game. And much like somebody like a Khabib out there, Doc, he just does a fantastic job of chaining his wrestling together. Like, once he's committed to that shot, it's just really tough to get him off you for the rest of that round. And we've already seen a minute of him in top control. And knowing Honest Jim, he's got another minute 55 in top control with a lot of ground and pound and submissions to boot with it. Obviously we see Hayes getting back up, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a mat return coming his way.
Does get it instantly there, as you said. This is one of the most effective ways you're going to have at nullifying Jim's game is keeping him in your full guard, like allowing him this free reign across your back, across half guard, just this full control everywhere. He's going to be difficult. Finally gets the back mount, doesn't get it, rolls over into back sitting, a minute left on the clock. Although Jim has done a lot of damage across this round, he's definitely probably won it purely on the basis of control time.
Yeah, I mean, the chip damage is something that obviously we can't see Hayes' stats, but I really wouldn't be surprised if he's had a lot of chip damage starting to bleed through. This is a terrible position for him. 35 seconds left on the clock. Honest Jim flattened him out once. Gonna be looking to do that once again, and of course, the choke from this position is something that's legal, Doc, if I'm not mistaken. Not gonna find out though, as PL1 Hayes gets back to the feet momentarily. Decides to go back into the grappling world. I mean, not really the best against somebody like Honest Jim out here, Doc, don't you think?
Nah, it's definitely not the best idea. Jim has got a good top game as well as bottom game. He's used to fighting this grappling game, whether he's been out the league fighting game, only making his recent return or not. For 0 to 5 significant strike, that's going to be a bit humiliating for Hayes. And so coming into this sex fight, he's either going to come out really aggressive or really counter-defensive.
Yeah, obviously going to be a little bit demoralizing for him, I am sure. But I know Hayes, man. He's the type of guy that, really, really does believe in his abilities. He knows that if he's just able to get his hands going, then he can knock out the best that, that really do walk the scene. So I think that's what he's going to be digging into right now, trying to find some of those body shots early, playing a lot more of the counter game, and seems to be doing a better job of evading some of these shots. But obviously, that takedown, it's always a threat with Honest Jim out here, Doc, and it can cause you a lot of problems because you don't know where he's going to go, changing levels and everything. But then PL1 Hayes turns it on the head and gets a takedown of his own. We'll have to see if he's able to do anything down here. I mean, Honest Jim, at least by my books, from his past performances, going to be a little bit more savvy when it does hit the mat.
Well, Hayes instantly gets up. I don't think that was Jim or not. I'm not sure. But again, both of them playing fairly steady game. Jim playing a more pushy game. He's putting on this pressure whilst Hayes is just looking to counter, looking for those open shots. And so far, he's having a bit of that difficult time just because the footwork approves.
Yeah, it's because Honest Jim is really doing a good job of the lateral movement with, Dominic Cruz getting in and out, making sure to pop that jab out, really doing a great job of finding his range. Eats a couple of shots on the exchange right there. Don't get to see which one came off the worst, but Honest Jim never giving up this forward pressure. He is relentless with it, Doc, as he jabs twice and goes into that leg kick. This is a crazy pace to set out for this 3-round bout.
You're seeing a lot of that lunging jab as well, the signature one from Cruz. Finally gets another takedown. Maybe Hayes feels like he can get a bit of success here, but I'm not sure. Gets denial on the full guard to go for the top man, and now Jim is in some serious trouble, though.
Yeah, not where he wants to be. He probably feels fairly comfortable here, though. Honest Jim is somebody that is not afraid to grapple with the best of them on the scene, and PL1 Hayes, somebody that's previously been known for his hands really exclusively. I imagine that Honest Jim's going to be feeling comfortable, but obviously doesn't want to kind of rest on his laurels down here, Doc. Doesn't want to get complacent. As Hayes is showing, he definitely has some chops on the mat and getting a couple of nice denials off and starting to work to some better positions.
Slowly starting to work some better positions. This is kind of a most difficult part for any type of grappling game. Finally gets out of that full guard, and that's what you want. Full guard is a very good position on bottom, not the greatest on top. Starting to create some heavy ground and pound there. Doesn't get anything sneaking through the block, and now into side control only.
Yeah, side control into the crucifix. Lovely work. Not for long, though. Excellent arm trap by Honest Jim, making sure to minimize the damage he is taking, getting up with the grapple advantage he had built, and straight back onto that forward pressure, Doc, trying to get something off in the last 15 seconds, but it's PL1 Hayes. The patient stands through, gets him rocked, and you see the change of tempo, Doc, pushing forward, trying to get that rock, but, I mean, what a way to close out that round, my man.
What a way indeed. Seems like that's one apiece round. Jim's having a very suffocating first. Hayes having a lot more successful on the feet within the second round, so this is going to be a very interesting time. Will Jim be able to take it down to the ground, or will Hayes keep it on the feet?
Honestly, they may change the entire script. Never mind. Honest Jim, early takedown, single leg into the turning. Not able to get the crucifix. Honest Jim doing a good job of staying patient with it. Obviously trying to get that reversal right there. Yeah, I mean, this is where Honest Jim gets his best work done there. What do you expect to see from him? Just kind of riding out this position into the crucifix. He seems to want it quite a lot there, Doc.
Well, you got crucifix or you got top mount. I much prefer a top mount position over side control. It's just purely for the fact you can rain down this damage. Does get the get up, and I'm expecting Jim to probably start hunting down the takedown again, but you're never particularly sure what a fighter's plan is within the cage.
No. Definitely not. Other than somebody like PL1 Hayes, I mean, he is really starting to let loose with some combinations, as is Honest Jim, ripping to that leg on repeat. Nice little teep to the face. Obviously, switching of stances, that's always going to be a great range resetter as he attacks that body dock. Lovely work from both guys. 3 minutes left in this third round, and they are trying everything they can to get this finish both.
Jim is just playing the range game here. Hayes is having to really time his shots off. Jim just understands it and just knows where he needs to go. Now getting this top mount again. Hayes probably looking for that get up again since he did get it. Although he's going for the full guard sweep and he doesn't get it. Lovely job there by Jim getting the 9 now. A top mount posture up and some heavy damage starting to be rained down.
Yeah, lovely work, brother. He does a number of nice shots, able to get some nice damage off. Of course, PL1 Hayes has been in these positions before, so he stays composed, able to regain the half guard momentarily, not able to stop the posture up, though, as Honest Jim. And that's the difference, right? We just saw Honest Jim. He goes a couple of shots. One of them got blocked, and he postured down. Not able to stop this, but my point being that that's what you see from a lot of the best grapplers out there, Doc, is not getting overzealous on the ground and not giving up positions too easily, although he did give it up moments later.
Yeah, well, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it's just a case, this is big. This is a good comeback from Hayes. He's having lots of success. Does get it. Fires a head kick off from retaliation. Jim probably knows that he probably wants a stun in retaliation to make sure he's won the round, but you're never particularly sure. Nearly countered, and this is a big fight all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Hayes does best. He just absolutely brings out the inner dog, finds the home for those hands, and he does such a good job when he gets in the flow. Honest Jim obviously finding the mark in a couple, but the rip on the counter from PL1 Hayes. The hands are just too clean for this man, trying to get the finish, but Honest Jim just about surviving once again. Only 15 seconds left on the clock, but my God, is PL1 Hayes putting on a good showing in this third round. I mean, he may have even stole the entire bout with that performance at the end.
Yeah, indeed, that knockdown was massive. You had that entire round 3 where Jim was leading the fight. He had the grappling, and then out comes Jan's hands, and that's the issue with Jan, is that he just got so much health stats that he can trade happily even within the third round after taking a beating.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, an entertaining bout. I mean, never would have expected anything less when it comes to PL1 Hayes and Honest Jim. We get a winner by unanimous decision, and it's PL1 Hayes, brother. He gets the bigger damage off. Honest Jim gets a lot of top control, some lovely takedowns, but PL1 Hayes obviously able to do just enough in the eyes of the judges to steal the majority of those rounds and pick himself up a nice W on his return there, my man.
Yeah, lovely job there by Hayes. It was a very well-versed opponent as well. We saw that his grappling may have not been the best, but he definitely had the striking game to back it up instead.
Yeah, and that's what he does best, bro. That is what he does best. Those hands are always absolutely terrifying. And yeah, that's exactly why, we've seen him knock out people like Dino in the past that were heavy favorites when they came out to the striking. And this evening he's able to get it done against, somebody that's been around the block, somebody that really is dangerous in every which way in Honest Jim. So great work by him right there. 29-28 across the board. But that does move us on to the next one out here, Doc. Somebody that we know very well, Mr. Humbledink YouTuber, fellow commentator, and all-round legend when it comes to primetime and other communities within the UFC, wider kind of community. But I've just received a message from you, in fact, that it's actually going to be Sir Psycho up next. My apologies. They have actually readied up, got their stream going. Those final pounds were cut, and they're stepping into the cage by the looks of things. Is that right, my man? What weight class are these in?
I'm not particularly sure. Off the top of my head, having a quick glance, it is in the lightweight division. It's going to be an interesting fight. Typically going to see a Poirier pick, but you're never particularly sure how or which way the fighter picks goes.
Yeah, I think it is lightweight from what I see here. A55 Spooky G up against Sir Psycho. Both guys have had fantastic performances in the past. Doc going to be looking to get the, their hands and their all-round games going. We've seen from them already in the early stage of this PlayStation roster that they are incredibly well versed. They're able to really, really engage in any part of this fight that they're going to want to, whether it be the clinch, the striking, or on the mat. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how they approach it. It does appear that we're maybe, just maybe, seeing a Khabib pick out of Spooky G, and Dustin Poirier on the side of Sir Psycho should make for a very, very entertaining bout there, my man.
Good indeed. Playing interesting bout. You got Khabib, very aggressive, very wrestling focused. Poirier, on the other hand, boxing focused, stand up focused, but also has that impressive bottom game, especially with the rubber guards, the sub attempt. So, and that's not to mention that Poirier does also have a half decent top game, to say the least, as well. Both of them very well versed and very accepting of each other's game plan. Although I think we may see a sudden change towards the Gaethje pick instead.
Yeah, and what that changes is obviously no rubber guard should he get taken down, but of course it opens up the leg kicks with a little bit more of an opportunity to cause damage quickly there, Doc. I believe he has 5-star leg kicks, and if he doesn't, he should. Justin Gaethje, he can really kick a man and take their leg out very, very quickly, bro. Very quickly. But
Poirier also has got good leg kicks. I think he's got a 4-star leg kick as well. We saw in both of his McGregor fights that he can calf kick a man to death and possibly break a man's leg. But again, Gaethje's out here. He's happy to stand and trade in the pocket. That's not where you want to be if you're fighting again.
No, exactly right. Instantly, Spooky G going for the single leg turn-in takedown. Looks like Sir Psycho was all over that one. There's going to be very confidence building as he slips another strike. Does get that leg caught. Definitely has to be careful of throwing too many kicks to the body to make sure that these takedowns aren't readily available. But Spooky G, once again, straight in on that one there, Doc. Able to get his opponent down. And as a Khabib player, you've got to imagine he's going to be looking for the smash in these positions. The ground and pound is definitely going to be ensuing as soon as he gets the opportunity to.
Yeah, well, this is the exact place where you want to be as a Khabib, just constantly confusing your opponent, gets an undeniable there, now goes into this side control. Gaethje's got to work out what he's got to do here. Another denier there and another denier there. This is going to be a very, very difficult time. Kimura attempt.
A nice attack by him, goes into the chain steps over the head. Lovely work, excellent tracking. The escape seems about even to the submit, but once you get past this stage now, the submit
that's
bar,
looking tight.
Yeah, it goes up a lot quicker here, Doc. This is the stage where it starts to shoot up nicely, and he's got the submission. This is a submission. Round 1 from Spooky G. We may have had to wait a little bit for the bout, but once it started, he did not waste any time putting on that pressure, Doc, and finding the submission nice and early.
He really didn't. He just got that instantly and so quickly. Very good job by Spooky G. His wrestling game is impressive.
Yeah, no, incredibly impressive. He just been able to hold his opponents down in the past and look for ground and pound. This time the submission was, available for him in the very, very early going. We've seen Sir Psycho in the past has honestly sensational hands, and he's shown to have grappling to a point that he's able to at least anti-grapple, Doc. So in order, for Spooky G to do this against somebody like Sir Psycho, that was somebody that I was keeping my eye out for and will continue to keep my eye out on, but for Spooky G to do it in this way, that's big for him, man, and really, really does at least, stamp his name in my memory. I'll remember him going forward, the ins and outs of this guy's kind of career in the esporting landscape as a whole. He seems to have a bright future ahead of him. He has some impressive skills. If he's able to at least back up the striking like he can the grappling, he's going to be a bit of a problem for anybody on this PlayStation side.
Yep. Well, again, the grappling game on the PS side as well is very interesting because you don't see many fighters with that grappling side, and so if you've got a very good grappler on the PS side, he's going to cause problems across the board for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And, we've seen it with the likes of Styles, the current champion, Atkin, and of course somebody there just like my man Spooky G. He obviously has the skills to pay the bills in that department, and we'll have to see if he's able to continue to employ that game plan going forward, because eventually you do run into somebody that stops that takedown, Doc, and you have to go in, go to the hands. So it'll be interesting when he hits that point.
Yeah, that it's always a very interesting fight when you come across someone with the takedown defense and see how someone can rely on those hands. Because a lot of the times when you start off, you're either a striker or a grappler. As you develop, as you continue, you start to have both aspects developed. And if you don't face that person up first to give you that backlash to make you become a striker, it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, exactly right. So now this is the next one. It is going to be KIA Humble Dink, the commentator himself, matchmaker as well. He is going to be taking on, I believe, his teammate in Filthy Uncle Ben, also known as Stone Cold, another guy from KIA. These guys in KIA, Doc, have been fantastic on the PlayStation side. They really have, been an impressive gym, and I'm looking forward to see what two guys that clearly have fought each other before, are going to be familiar with each other's styles, are going to be able to do under this competitive light, because a lot of things change when the pressure is on.
A lot of things do change when the pressure on. You can have fairly even close fights or fairly massively large disparities in terms of your actual fighting capabilities. But as soon as you get under those leg fights, the nerves kick in, and it gets all the worse, because sometimes your striking will either get massively better, massively worse. And the same way it goes with the grappling. I think we're going to see a mirror match here. And so they're both working fairly even stats. And so it'll be the case of who is the better fighter overall.
Yeah, it will. Stone Cold pulled out. It's Filthy
Yes.
Uncle Ben. I didn't realize. I just thought that was his name on the, on the console. Lots of differences between their Discords and their gamer tags. Normally, at least, but no, Filthy Uncle Ben, KIA, up against KIA Humble. Like you said, mirror match. Thankfully, they're going to give us the different colored shorts out here, Doc, so it's going to be easy to separate between the two. I believe KIA Humble on the right side in the blue gloves. I believe it's some white shorts, could be mistaken. Oh, no, they are both red shorts. That's devastating. I take it all back.
You're never sure, because I believe the graphic on that screen is a bit different to what it shows in game, but I could be wrong.
Oh, fair enough. Well, two KIA boys fighting. I am definitely on the edge of my seat for this one. Bit of a showing of respect from both gentlemen, touching it up, and I imagine this one's going to start nice and quickly, Doc. I mean, when you fight somebody that you fought as many times as a campmate, then, there's often very little feeling out processes. You just kind of go to work on the openings are going to be available when you're so familiar with that opponent.
Yeah, that is kind of the typical way, but to be fair, they're starting off a lot slower than I expected. Normally in this type of style, you just have them winging hands at one another already, and now we're starting to see that. But both of them wanting to establish that jab. Head kick gets landed already, aggressive by a Humble Dink. Humble Dink gets stunned to the body, though, and evidently they took offense to me saying they were taking a slow pace.
Yeah, they are not wasting any time. It's as soon as you crack the other one, instantly both of them woke up. As soon as the first, kind of good shot was landed, now they are letting loose and really, really trying to get into that flow state, finding, the successes with what they know they're best at, what they maybe see as an opening for their opponent. A number of nice body rocks and body shots mixed in with uppercuts from Filthy Uncle Ben over here, Doc. I am loving this combinations, but obviously Humble continues to answer back with some lovely combinations of his own.
Yeah, both of them just looking to play this aggressive game, just making sure every combo they land is at least on the block, if not working that chin.
Yeah, continually pressuring it. Now, obviously, we're seeing Humble also start to mix it up to the body. He seems to favor that head kick when he gets opportunities for it. A lot of the straights seem to be followed by, by that roundhouse straight to the dome, and he's had a lot of success with it, so I can understand why he continues to look for that opening. Looks like Peter Yan on the opposite side in Filthy Uncle Ben is trying a couple of head kicks of his own, but honestly, they're so evenly matched at this stage, Doc. It can flip on the, flip on a coin on who's going to be able to get the lead going. You can see them start to dig deep and try to put money in the bank with the body shots, but they're both doing it, so they're staying very even across the course of this first round.
It really, when you get to this point where both of you are just winging the shots, it's just about who gets that counter. Like you see there, both of them nearly got the counter. Head kick follows the retaliation, aggressive. Lands a straight, doesn't get anything from it. Body shot attempt does whiff another body uppercut there. We've seen them across the card tonight, and they do massive amounts of damage.
That they do. Nice catch of the kick by KIA. Humble tends to go for another head kick right there. Partially blocked by Filthy Uncle Ben, trying to look for some pull counters. But Humble is wise to them, using a lot of lateral movement, Doc, to stay out of a lot of the shots coming his way. But I find that once, one of them finds a strike that lands, they just continue to dig to it, Doc. I mean, a couple of kicks to the body, a couple of kicks to the head. Once again, it lands, and combinations surely are going to ensue from both guys.
Well, to be fair, doubling up on the body kicks actually works quite effectively, because after you've hit someone with one, you normally end up with some type of hit stun. So unless you go to instantly block the body again, you're not going to be able to react very often.
Yeah, for sure. Nice entertaining bout. I believe that was only round 1, and we have already seen so many strikes thrown over the course of those 5 minutes. Exactly as advertised, KIA turning up this evening, turning out for sure. They're going to touch it up at the start of round 2, and I imagine this pace is going to continue just as they started off and ended that first one there, Dog.
Yeah, you'd have to expect that both of them are just going to be playing aggressive. That rear head kick on both sides is getting that stun over and over again. Switch kick twice to the body, another head kick narrowly avoids. Your hand's still stunned, finally recovered, ducks to head kick, elbow counters, and a drop there by Filthy.
Yeah, decides not to jump on him. Maybe that's out of respect. Maybe it was an unofficial agreement. Either way, the action continues. He is pressuring forward, pushing his opponent behind those black lines, mixing up the body uppercuts very nicely. Couple of switch kicks to boot with it, Doc, and the combinations really starting to add up for this man. If he's able to keep it nice and tight, he may be onto a winner in the second round with so much time left on the clock.
Very much a lot of time left on the card. Both of them looking to get past that block, and both of them back and forth. That jab again, missed the uppercut, and both of them just again. It's just a back and forth battle.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't expect anything less. The primetime guarantee holds true, especially when you've got Humbledink and one of his teammates in the cage. He is ripping with combinations, almost got a spin in there nice and close. The head health is blinking low, Doc, and it doesn't look like Filthy Uncle Ben is even stopping the action. He tries to push forward, but eats a couple to the dome. KIA Humble does go to the ground momentarily, decides to separate, probably an unofficial agreement, as we mentioned a moment ago.
It probably is, but Uncle Ben's ability to survive, though, he's just taking shot after shot, even when he's got no block, no head held. He's just surviving against the onslaught that Humble's doing.
Yeah, I'm liking the pressure. He's spoken about it so many times. Once he is able to find the opening for it, he does like to go after it very, very heavily. He's all about the pressure, all about mixing it up, behind combinations. And of course, it looks like his opponent, Ben, has kind of taken a little bit of a page from that book throughout this fight. He's been heavily pressuring, but he's known when to play passive, right, Doc? He's known when to take that foot off the gas and start to go to the body, and that may be why he's starting to find himself ahead in terms of the total stamina at in this fight.
Yeah, both. But that's sometimes the issue, though, is you just gas yourself out from just trying to get this finish. And although, to be fair, both of them are working that body inside, both of them are pretty gassed as well. It's just a case of who can land the bigger counter within his last 30 seconds.
Slept him. KIA Humble able to land a perfect elbow on his teammate, sits him down in that third round. I think it was the third round at least. These guys have, their stock is raised, Doc, both of them, right? There is no loser in a fight like that. Of course, one of them went down, but my God, did they bring the action for every single second that fight lasted.
Yeah, both of them were just non-stop, and it was a banger of a fight, pretty much. Both of them just looking for this back and forth, just looking for this one big counter, and finally, Humble does find it.
Yeah, great work. Wouldn't expect anything less even. That was the featured fight of the prelim, Doc. Moves us on to our main card. Up first, we are going to be having EK Slick up against EK Jakey, I do believe. Oh no, I have just been updated. My apologies. We are going to be going to KM Motown's Finest up against TMF Noggin. We will get a little bit of an update momentarily on what is happening with the EK Jakey EK Slick fight, on whether or not that is still scheduled to go ahead. But of course, we have two absolute killers up next. And yeah, I expect a big fight out of these guys. TMF Noggin is on the up and up. Obviously, the TMF boys have a lot of new members coming in there, Doc. We see them, put out, some really, really nice prospects, just like Ginger, who have really risen to the top and had some, great advantages. Of course, in this one, though, we are going to be seeing him across the cage from somebody that's really emerged as, a rising star almost there, Doc, in Motown's Finest. He's shown to have an incredibly well-versed skill set and has been able to employ it very, very well thus far in his, esporting career.
Yeah, well, Motown's got this really interesting, intricate head movement. It's kind of like a shoulder roll where it makes you very hard to actually hit the poor sod. So, in which case, it means someone overextends, he gets to counter off, and it's just this beautiful combination of just sneaking shots in.
Well, he is going to be able to do that very nicely in this weight class. You've got to imagine it is in bantamweight. Motown's Finest appears to be hovering over Rob Font as we speak, and TMF Noggin appears to be over Peter Yan. Of course, these can change, but if this is the matchup that we see, Doc, it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, obviously, we've said it time and time again, Peter Yan has everything you could ask for in this division, but of course, Rob Font is an incredible counter to that, with some incredible boxing and a really, really strong reach.
Yeah, both of them, well, Font especially has got that reach on. He's got a stiff jab. You saw it IRL in the Cody fight. Yan, we've seen him picked 3-4 times now. We kind of know the deal. He's good everywhere, and that's kind of the way it goes. Font, leg kicks, that jab. He's got a couple of good sneaky Kimuras from bottom as well as from top, so it's this interesting play, but Font's main game is on the feet, and that's where you want to keep it. You want to be using it to poke, using it to reach, and making sure that Yan can't hit you, but you can hit him.
Exactly right. They touch them up, Doc, to start us out. Instantly go into a couple of combinations, trying to get that head off the center line is Noggin and Motown Finest, both looking for counters early on, and sometimes that can lead to a nice quick finish, either for you or for your opponent, because of course that head movement allows you to evade some shots, but of course then leaves you a little bit more open to others, Doc.
It really does. The head movement is good and it's bad. You can either get clipped by it or you can avoid shots. So it's just a case of learning when it's effective and when it's not effective.
Exactly right. Got to time it well. These guys in the opening going seem to be trying to go into the flow state with it almost. Don't seem to be trying to make the reads in this early stage. Seem to be trying to preemptively anticipate where their opponent is going to lay that head, and they're having a lot of success, especially TMF Noggin. A lot of that head health starting to slip away from Motown's Finest. He has to be careful and a little bit more conscious about his defenses in this early going, Doc, because same can be said for Noggin, though. Answering back with some combos, brother. Those are some sweet shots coming his way. The boxing still stands strong with Motown's Finest.
It really is. Both of them are just sneaking that straight in. I feel like the jab's purely there for the setup, but the actual straight is doing most of the damage. Sneaking past that block, looking to pull back at the same time. And 2 minutes 40 left on the clock. Both of them are still fairly calm, fairly composed, but it's evident the damage is being dealt with.
Yes, sir. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from both guys. They're bringing the action. Appears to be a little bit of a laceration above Noggin's right eye as he picks, Peter Yan, that is. Obviously, Motown's Finest is a veteran of all veterans. He knows to dig to the body in these early rounds, Doc, to try and play some dividends a little bit earlier on as he gets his opponent to miss a couple of shots. The more he's able to do that, the more success he's able to do in that second round. He's really going to start to be able to turn up the heat. If it makes it there, combinations raining through. Looks like Rob Font is really starting to find the mark for those hands. Your campmate doing an excellent job of putting it all together there, Doc.
Well, that's also another thing about Motown is I talk about this. He's shoulder roll with the head movement, but he's also got this ability to know when to just unleash a combo and a half. Yeah. Like he'll go from this really two combos, 3 combos, and then suddenly release like a 4 or 5 shot combo, and it just massively causes issues across the board.
Yeah, as you can see, once he finds the mark for a couple of shots, you are sure to be seeing another 3 or 4 come behind it, with maybe a moment's break in between. He really, really does a great job of continually popping you in the face with that combination. And right now, I mean, his timing is on point, getting out of the way that everything that TMF Noggin has to come for him, except for that right there. And then seems to be answering back with some really, really blistering combinations. Only 5 seconds left there, Doc, or just about, but still looking for that damage going into that second round. It's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for TMF Noggin. You've got to imagine that maybe a takedown could be the most viable way for him to get some points and start to try and change the momentum, because let's be honest, the hands are really coming to life for Rob Font right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of Motown's game. He has a very slow round, half a round for when then he starts coming aggressive, and that's going to be the massive difficulty for Jan, is making sure that Font doesn't start just getting into that flow, just coming in, out, and then sneaking those shots in.
Yeah, exactly right. And some of those big shots just like that, Doc, I don't think that's going to be, the recipe for success for Peter Yan. He needs to really keep it simple and start to work on his fundamentals in this round, because Motown's finest, as you mentioned, that head movement has been doing fantastically, just to evade the shots after those early reads that he was able to make, and continues to put on the pressure and score big. Bro, this pressure is crazy from him.
He really is, and it's just this ability. You just know when to unleash it. You walk forward, you can step back, but then you're always making sure your opponent's at least somewhere behind that black line, and that's what Motown's the best at doing, it seems like.
Oh! Noggin answering back though, Doc. Nice combination for him as he tries to even the scorecards. A lot of time on the clock. If he's able to turn up the pressure, land a couple of more big shots, he could close out the show. We know how hard Peter Yan hits, and once he starts to find the mark, it could be hard to change that tide. But once again, Motown's finest finding, his range with the jab there, Doc, and you talk about it all the time, as do I. That jab can really dictate the entire pace of a fight and allow you to find your range a little bit more clearly than your opponent, should they not, try to develop such a clean jab just like yours.
It really is just the fact, if you can get that jab off effectively, as long as you can make sure to always stick it in, always just make it known, your opponent's gonna have a lot of time, even just generally firing back, just because your face is being met with your fist.
Lovely, the uppercut was read. He timed it absolutely beautifully, or the duck was read perfectly. With that uppercut, he is continuing the pressure, cage cutting excellently, making sure that Noggin feels very, very, kind of claustrophobic, pressed up against that cage. Allows him a little bit of rope just to walk onto the punch. Now tries to rain down the finishing blows. This might be Motown's finest.
And he does get a finish.
Yeah, that was beautiful, bro. That was beautiful work by him. He really did employ an all-around clean boxing game, able to utilize some incredibly clean head movement, as you were pointing out at the beginning of the match. Set that up throughout the entire fight and was eventually able to catch his opponent with a couple of clean combinations and a perfectly timed uppercut. Beautiful work from Motown's finest. He really does have some bright things ahead of him if he's able to put it all together on the mat and continue to develop those hands. I don't see many people that's going to stand in his way.
Yeah, the only thing now will be interesting to see how M-Town's grappling can really define him, because you see the striking ability, but it's always this grappling. Like, you look at it constantly. See, Fan8, the current champ, is that he may be a grappler, he may be a striker, but he can still grapple and he can still play that game. Yeah. So it's just that back and forth battle, seeing who's the grappler, who's the striker, and who can do both. Yes, brother. Yes, exactly right. So now, Doc, correct me if I am wrong. We are moving on to EK Slick up against EK Jakey B. These guys are about ready to go. They are going to be streaming it from the Elite Kings Gaming channel itself. I believe it is in featherweight, and we are seeing Conor McGregor up against a beat pick there, Doc. That's an interesting one. And I expect these guys to bring the action. I mean, they're both campmates. They're going to have an unofficial agreement, I'm sure. And I imagine that hands flying knees and all sorts of spinning shit is coming our way very, very quickly in this one. When it comes to Slick and when it comes to Jakey fighting each other, you'll never particularly going on. And if Slick's picking Zabit, everybody should just be a bit concerned. McGregor's a very good pick. He's the classic pick, the classic striker. Zabit has pretty effective hands, has the evidence. Zabit trip has some mental kicks, although doesn't have a lead body tape.
Right. Well, we are going to have to see how they shape up, what skills they've been working on. I imagine we're going to see a lot of striking. Normally, when these EK boys get up matched up against each other, it's hands only. And I know that Slick's been working on his kickboxing for a very, very long time, so he's going to be really looking to showcase that. And of course, Jakey has been mentioning it as well, right, Doc? He's said time and time again that he's got hands now, and he looks to take full advantage of those improved abilities going into his primetime fights.
Indeed, Jakey has got hands, and it's nice to see that he's developed from the once only grappler he was into the striker. If I'm not mistaken, he's even got a win over the mighty killer Jake on the feet. And so you got to think from the last primetime card. So coming into this, he's in very good standing for a striking match as well.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. Well, I hope that they are about ready to go. Otherwise, we may have to move on to the next one. I don't want to do that, Doc. This is a fight that I wanted to see. So, yeah, hopefully they're about ready up. You can see an advantage for EK Slick, 29 to the 18 on EK Jakey. But we've said it time and time again, of course, when you are training against each other, when you are just coming up against, each other on OWC, it's a completely different kettle of fish out there, Doc. It's not the same sort of fight. Obviously, the nerves, the pressure that are brought upon you when there's bragging fights involved, it can really change a fighter for the better or for the worse.
Yeah, indeed. The bragging rights are always this interesting fight, especially when you're in a league fight. And so sometimes rule sets can go out the window, sometimes they're not. But I think with these two fighters, you're definitely going to see an interesting fight when Slick goes to beat.
Yeah, as you said, interesting pick for him. It definitely just allows him to open up a lot of creativity with his striking, and sometimes, honestly, that's where Slick Cult can really come to life. I've seen his improved striking in the past. I can only imagine he's continued to improve it, but he has an unorthodox style, and somebody like Zabit allows him to really, really dig deep into that and, allow that toolkit to be on full display. But Jakey's got a lot of power in that left hand out here, Doc, and if he's able to utilize it correctly with Conor McGregor, oh my god, I don't even know what just happened.
I think he went for a Zabit trip as McGregor went to throw a couple of strikes, so he had a weird instance of glitching at Jakey getting the 9. I think I think this may be the case that we see a Zabit cuddling the McGregor for maybe this entire round. Depends if Jakey can build himself up. Both come from a similar camp, so both of them definitely know how to grapple.
Yeah, they're both grappling specialists.
So grappling specialist in Urilan's quite effective ground and pound, and both of them staying fairly composed, although looking for the full guard, doesn't get it, and now we're seeing back as Colt back into side control, Looney.
Yeah, apologies if I disappear momentarily. I am having a sneezing fit and trying to fight it off for all I can, but these guys are going at it right now. Slick didn't go for the types of game that I thought I was going to get out of him. I expected a largely striking kind of approach to it, but understandably, he goes to the mat with Zabit, has the rubber guard on bottom, has a lot of work that he can do from top as well. Of course, Conor McGregor, no slouch on the mat, but definitely not where he wants to be with Zabit there. And as we rightly see, Jakey looks for the separation, which I think is a smart move. If allows him to really work that left hand.
He really does, and just this is the idea with McGregor, is you want to be in and out, in and out. Zabit, on the other hand, doesn't care, and he's just throwing those jab straights happily to meet McGregor here. Does get the land elbow, spin heel kick, narrowly avoids, clipping McGregor down, another elbow there, and Jakey's just trying to find shots, and so far Zabit seems to be having more success.
Yeah, and I don't know if you just mentioned it. If you did, I do apologize, but Conor McGregor, of course, is he's not standing in the right stance right now for a Conor McGregor player. He's not in southpaw. He's actually standing in an orthodox position, doing a good job of landing that lead body hook. I mean, it does with that left-hand power with Conor McGregor. It's just not right a little bit, right? He has more power in that hand, but the takedown is there for Zabit once again, and that's going to be something that's readily available for Slick Colt. He has a lot of combinations of mixing it together, but that Zabit trip is very, very tough to stop out here, dog.
It really is, and that's just an issue. Although McGregor gets reversals a beat now and back, does go for the side control inside saddle as well. That just means you can land those elbows. They hit a lot harder than they do in normal. With only 30 seconds left on the clock, you've got this difficult position.
Am I right in saying that this is colorblind as well? A colorblind setting that's on there, Doc? They look quite a bit different from normal.
Yes, this is a colorblind setting.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, it's interesting. I may change it myself. It looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie to you. But no, we're seeing Conor McGregor posturing up now. A couple of ground and pound shots raining down for the last couple of seconds. EK Jakey making sure to get his licks in before the end of that round when he got the opportunity on the mat. But of course, it's going to be bit tough if Slick decides to continue with that strategy going forward in the second and third rounds. Zabit has so many takedown options, and of course he can strike if he wants to out here, Doc.
He can strike indeed. We know that Colt's a pretty effective grappler. Is it suggestible to strike against McGregor? That's a different story. But I think, as we've seen throughout this entire card, whether it's a good idea or not doesn't matter. People are still going to do it, as we saw with a machine gun earlier.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of switch kicks from Slick. Colt appears to be taking this fight very, very seriously. Is approaching EK Jakey with a lot of respect, making sure to put money in the bank. We're now seeing Conor McGregor once again in that orthodox position, ripping combinations, making sure to get those hands going, hitting the big old head of Zabit, because let's be honest, that head is pretty large and an easy target when you let those hands go, Doc. It's hard to get his head out of the way, especially when you got that precision of Conor McGregor.
You say that as Zabit, he slips straight and just meets him with an elbow. So far, we see Jakey trying to just land every jab straight in the book. Zabit on the other hand trying to pull back, just looking for those counters. Goes for a push, doesn't get much, and with 3 minutes left on the clock so far, it's going to be a very interesting fight. Just for the fact of...
Lovely slip. He gets stuck. And the knockout. The knockout from EK Jakey. My God, he gets a perfectly timed duck under the head kick as EK Slick was pushing for that finish. A perfect right hand finds the mark out here, Doc. And my God, what a way to close out the show for Jakey. He said he had improved hands and he was able to showcase it, even if it was just from one perfectly timed counter.
It really was. As soon as Slick went to get over aggressive to try put Jakey out, he just got ducked under, and then was met with the power of McGregor.
Yeah, beautiful work from him. I'm impressed. Obviously we haven't got to see too much from Jakey in terms of the approach of just striking in the past. He had an opponent here tonight that wasn't afraid of his ground game, that was really happy to engage in that, and understandably so from Slick Colt. He's such a well-versed veteran on the mat. It would be mad for him not to, engage in that. The only reason I didn't expect it is because they were campmates, but obviously they took this bout seriously, and an all-round very fun fight. Obviously, commiserations to Slick. Not able to get his hand raised this time. He was doing very well, but Jakey just found that money shot, Doc, and yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, brother.
It really was a beautiful job by both opponents there, and it just seemed like Jakey got the better exchanges, and with a pick like McGregor, that's kind of believable.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly timed power shot. Even if it was his right hand, that's what it took to put him out. And couldn't have asked for a better finish to that bout as a whole. But I do believe that moves us on to our next one, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be between BSD's very own Broomstick, a man that's been recovering from an illness. We wish you wellness. As you go forward, he's going to be trying to fight that virus away this evening in the cage up against TFA's Big Nige. The Big Nige army is standing up this evening, Doc, and I'm sure they're going to be cheering on their man up against, a fan-friendly favorite like Broomstick. This is a perfect match for Big Nige to continue to try and build his profile if he's able to get a W against somebody like Broomstick.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Broomstick recently coming off a loss to Fadinator, if I'm not mistaken, contesting for the title last week, and now looking to build up another win streak. So if Big Nige can beat Broomstick here, it's definitely a big win in his books.
Exactly right, brother. And my God, I wouldn't expect anything less from these two complete and utter G's. We are seeing two underrated picks. Paulo Costa up against Kevin Holland. All the hallmarkings for an entertaining bout, Doc. I expect action from the very get-go. Of course, Paulo Costa's known to push the action, as is the Nigel army. Wouldn't expect anything less other than him to really try to take the fight to Kevin Holland. But of course, Broomstick, man, he's trained with some of the best on the scene, brother, and he has the ability to find the mark and turn your lights out on a moment's notice. So Big Nige and his army needs to watch their chin, because with Kevin Holland, he can find it pretty quickly.
Well, I think it should also be noted that I believe Broomstick's been training with the almighty Hammer, who's a very sophisticated grappler and notorious for his mighty rubber guard. So it's going to be an interesting time seeing if maybe we see Big Knight shoot with Costa and get some meat with that rubber guard.
We shall see. Starting out nice and quickly, Doc. Wouldn't expect anything less. These guys going to really try to push the action, as you see Big Nige picking Paulo Costa, already landing combination after combination, sits down Broomstick and is going to, really turn up the pace from this point onwards. You've got to imagine he's not somebody that likes to let his opponent off the hook. A pullback elbow is there. Broomstick trying to find the mark for his own shots. Nice little knee on the inside. What a quick start for us, Doc. I imagine this is going to continue over the course of this entire bout.
I mean, we had a knockdown within 20 seconds. We got both of them trading in the pocket like mental people within 2 minutes, and both of them are just looking for the kill. It seems like head kick fires there by Costa. Holland just taking it on his 96 chin. Front kick, though, does drop him, and Broomstick's in big trouble here.
He is just about closing out the show, but Holland is able to hold on for the moment. I don't know how he was able to do so. Wasted no time to get back to his feet, and maybe Broomstick is going to be regretting that one, because it looks like the Big Nige army is all steam ahead, not wasting any time continuing those combinations, slipping that head off the center line, making himself a very difficult opponent. But my God, Broomstick answering back, Doc. This is craziness.
Oh my God, Broomstick's down 2 knockdowns. On the other hand, Nigel's got 2 knockdowns in his favour, does get a knockdown retaliation. Both of them are non-stop with this action, looking for pullbacks, looking for counters, and this is just a hectic back and forth fight. We've got another front kick attempt, 2 minutes left, 2 minutes left on the clock, and both of them are just going at it.
This is absolute craziness, brother. Craziness. I couldn't expect anything less. Like I said, the primetime guarantee definitely official on this bout, as every other bout has lived up to that standard as well, but especially this one, Dog, especially this one, the Big Nige army. Obviously the Broomstick, Gucci himself, coming out here trying to be silky smooth. Both guys having a lot of success in this opening round. We still have a minute 30, and they're really starting to try to find the home for those big shots, Doc. That high vulnerability shot, the one that can turn out the lights, and honestly I would expect that to happen sooner rather than later at this stage.
You would have blinked so, but you're never particularly sure how much they can Big Nige getting another knockdown, but that doesn't put Broomstick out. He's never out for the count. It seems like a minute left on the clock, and both of them are still going at it, although their pace seems to have calmed compared to the beginning of the round. Yeah,
and I think that's going to be matched with the fact that their stamina almost hitting that halfway mark at the very end of the very first round. Only 30 seconds, and you can see the head health and the body work from both guys adding up very nicely, but you've got to try to keep a little bit of gas in that tank, because if you can't get your opponent out in round 1, Doc, and it goes into that second and third and you don't have the gas tank to... All there saved by the bell, but the Big Nige once again finds a pull counter, able to sit his opponent down, and he is looking very good in this one, although damage definitely coming his way from Broomstick, who he's standing strong, brother. He's standing strong in a difficult spot here.
Indeed, the Big Nige is putting on this pace. He started out so fucking quick, and that just continued and continued even till the last point with the bell rang, where he did get that knockdown. But Broomstick has got a couple of successes, so coming into this second round, it's going to be the case of who can start out strong and who can get those successes off first.
Big Nige is in the chat saying no slow start here this evening. He is trying to make up for a previous loss, and he's had a fantastic first round, but as you said, Doc, he has to be careful in this second round, because his stamina is starting to be a little bit weighted here, and obviously Broomstick is a veteran. He's dug deep in the past, weathered a lot of early storms, and come back to get the victory, and that seems to be his approach here this evening, up against somebody that is bringing all the smoke at the beginning of the bout, and is going to probably find it hard to sustain that over the course of the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, he really is going to have a very difficult time just continuing this pace if he keeps going at it. Like, this is one of the main issues when it comes to this type of pace, is that the quicker you go, the faster you gas out. And so if Nige can't temper the storm and look for his key shots without gassing himself out, it's going to face a lot of issues by Broomstick.
Exactly right, brother. Exactly right. You see a front kick that was partially blocked there. Broomstick answering back with a couple of combinations on the inside. Big Nige has head health problems at the moment, but doesn't seem to be dissuaded by it. That continues the pressure and lands the overhand. Now, I mean, he is really looking for this finish. He smells blood and seems to be pushing for the, for the end to this bout. Broomstick's so good at, just hanging in there, though, Doc, and looking for his opportunity to get back the momentum. It's always tough to get him out of the cage.
It really is, and both of them are just looking for the kill shot, but as you mentioned, neither of them want to get out of this cage and want just to keep going until decision, it feels like.
Lovely work. Nice uppercut there once again from Big Nige. He continues to land huge amounts of damage with Paulo Costa. Obviously, it's why he picked him. He has heavy hands, maybe not the best gas tank. Kevin Holland trying to weather through the early storms. We are at the midway or just over the midway point of the second round now. And once again, I mean, Broomstick has had so much damage landed on him at this stage, but still looks pretty strong. Looks composed out here, Doc, and doesn't seem to be flustered by the, the pace that Big Nige is bringing to the table here.
No, he really doesn't. His head health is blinking though, so it's dangerous and it's a bit scary to deal with indeed. Does get the knockdown there, and that's exactly what you want from Broomstick there.
Yeah, he is trying to answer the action with action, or fire, fighting fire with fire, as you would say. And I think that may be his only route at this stage, because we know that Big Nige is not going to let off the gas at any stage in this fight, even if the the stamina is low. If he's able to continue to put out damage like he has been, for the most part, it's able to equalize out because of the damage that he's able to put out on his opponent. Obviously, their head health, their stamina, not able to often survive throughout the entire bout. When he's mixing it up the way he has been. Oh, that was close though, bro. That was very close.
That was very close. You see at the end though that Broomstick's done fairly well in keeping up the cardio. I don't think he's probably winning the round. Probably needs to finish within this third round. Big Nige, on the other hand, definitely needs to probably just survive coming into this third round.
Well, as they go to it, the third round is upon us. I didn't expect to see it between Big Nige and Broomstick, but here we find ourselves a couple of combinations on the inside. Obviously, Broomstick now trying to really employ some ring generalmanship as he digs to the body, looks for a couple of shots to the head, but ever dangerous is Big Nige, Doc. He's always looking to load up on one of those combinations, and more often than not, he's able to find the mark for at least a couple of those.
It really is. Both of them now just standing neck and neck in the pocket. Broomstick, as you mentioned, holding the centre of the octagon, whilst Big Nige is just looking for that one big shot to maybe get Broomstick to back off.
Exactly right, exactly right. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Broomstick, though. He knows he's potentially down in this fight, and, he's really starting to pour on the pressure, try to march forward, trying to force some mistakes out of Big Nige. Big Nige on the other hand, though, Doc, he's really staying composed, looking for a lot of openings of his own, a couple of pull counters, and always, just like that, the uppercut finds the mark, brother.
Narrowly avoids getting uppercut in the face, body kick in retaliation while stunned, side kick misses. Costa just happy just to wait here in the pocket. He doesn't want to give too much position away. He can move back a slight bit, but as soon as your back is in the cage, it means you just can't pull back, and that's going to be the issue when you're against it. Does get the stun there, and both of them now back and forth. Finally gets a knockdown, and this is a hectic fight.
I mean, Big Nige, man, he just has a knack for causing damage. He sent me a message, let me know that he wanted to prove a point here this evening, and yeah, this is an incredible pace there, bro. An incredible pace from him, just really pouring it on, continuing to land combination after combination. Broomstick standing strong, looking for his opportunities, but so far, I mean, Big Nige has really been all over the biggest damaging shots of the fight, and is getting the better of these exchanges.
He really is getting the better exchanges, although Broomstick's not making it easy every time Big Nige wants to engage. Broomstick's making sure to be there and ready to, nearly gets to clip there. A minute to 15 seconds left within the third round. I don't think any of us were expecting to get this far.
Definitely not, brother. Definitely not. Inside leg kick. uppercut attempt. Lots and lots of blocks happening in the final stage as they, throw out a couple of single shots on their opponent. The cardio is very low. Combinations may, end the fight one way or another because the stamina isn't there to hold up for 2 or 3 punches anymore, Doc, and will open you up to some big damage of your own. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these single shots come in, from each guy. And they do a lot of damage, bro. They've doing a lot of damage.
Takedown shot by Costa, 15 seconds left in the round. Gets a deny, maybe looking just to wait it out now, being patient. Gets another deny, and definitely does seem the case to be.
Yeah, we will see which way the judges score it. It is the most accurate part in the game in terms of how wildly inconsistent they are. But obviously, Big Nige landing a lot of the biggest damage throughout the entire course of that fight. Not to say that Broomstick didn't answer back with some big moments of his own, but Big Nige definitely seemed to be having the majority of them. And as you see in the highlights here, quite likely it's got his hand raised at the end of this incredible 3-round bout between two very, very high-level opponents. I'm liking what I'm seeing with Broomstick, Doc. I'm liking, even though he probably lost this one, I've liked the adjustments we've seen in his game recently. Same with Big Nige, and that's why they're starting to find themselves towards the top end of the rankings now, after such, crazy performances just like this.
Yeah, both of them were put on ahead of the fight. You had Big Nige be so aggressive in that first, but even then, Broomstick stayed on for a lot of it. Broomstick does get the loss, but that's sometimes the way it goes in these fights.
Yeah, it definitely is, brother. It definitely is. Unfortunately, you can't win them all. He came off, a very, very tough fight up against the champion. Not able to get his bounce-back fight up against an up-and-coming, dangerous kid like Big Nige. There's a reason that man's got an army behind him, and he proves it here again this evening. Getting a win over a dangerous veteran. Somebody that was literally just challenging for the belt, but. That does, take us on to the next one out here, Doc. It's going to be TFA's very own owner, and that is TFA Pug up against Haroon. Haroon is obviously a guy that's been a little bit controversial as of recently within the community there, Doc, but, continues to put on incredible fights. He is going to have his work cut out from him. TFA, the Pug had a tough outing up against Caliber, and personally messaged me, let me know that he wants to make a point here this evening, and Haroon's the man to do it against, I do think.
Well, Haroon's an interesting fighter. He's got a lot of striking. He's got a very effective game there. Pug, on the other hand, is a very effective striker as well. Plays on the back foot mainly, and so it's kind of this typical fighter of who's going to be the one to pressure first. I feel like Haroon's going to put on this pressure. Whether he's actually successful in that is going to be the story of tonight, I feel like.
Well, only time will tell, and the time is now. TFA Pug seems to be picking Israel Adesanya, and so does John, unless they do a last-moment switch-up, which looks like we're getting. Of course, you always expect it these days, right? Because they don't want to show anything to their opponent. They don't want to let them know any sort of insight on who they might pick in the actual bout there, Doc, and allow them to game plan around that. A last-moment switch-up to Robert Whittaker means that we see another mirror match, but I imagine that maybe we're going to see some, kind of different styles being employed by both guys because there's so many options available when you do pick Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, Robert Whittaker's got the leg kicks. He's a bit like Yan in bantamweight. I think it's the best way to describe him. The only difference is he doesn't have a Zabit trip to help you take him down.
Very, very true. The Pug has, shown us time and time again that he has, a bit of a knack for finding some incredible knockouts. But this pressure from Haroon is honestly a little bit next level right now. He's really, really pushing the pace forward, landing a couple of shots, and looking to really, really force the action with the Pug early on, not wasting any time at all.
One of the most difficult things about the Pug when you fight him is making sure that you can actually cut off the cage effectively, keep him against it. Otherwise, you're going to have a very difficult time landing your shots. Haroon did have big success of that within the first minute, but so far, Pug keeps just getting out of the way very quickly.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing all round from both guys. Quite candidly, they're doing a great job of mixing it up, attacking the body, looking for uppercuts, obviously trying to make reads and counter on those reads. Nice little lead hook from TFA the Pug there as John was leaning off to it. John obviously being Haroon. But yeah, no, they're really not wasting any time. There's still 3 minutes left in this first round, Doc, and we've already seen maybe in excess of 50 shots per fighter.
Yeah, and definitely in excess. Both of them put on this pressure. Pug does go for the takedown. Haroon getting the takedown defense cleanly. 2 minutes 50 left on the clock. Takedown shot. A lot of shots fired in either direction. Head movement being used. And so far, Pug is definitely playing off the back foot.
Yeah, I don't want to say that we're not going to see a decision in this one because I've been proven wrong in the past, but the way that they're fighting, you've got to imagine that one of them may be going face down on the canvas very shortly. TFA, the Pug, has Haroon injured, is looking forward for the finish, continues to land beautiful shot stock, and some of these are blistering through some, the block. Perfectly timed, my man. This pressure is non-stop at this stage.
Perfectly timed, and that's what you want. You want that knockdown, you want the success to give you that boost. Double uppercuts there, takedown shot, and now we see Haroon trying to take on the grappling.
And this is what he does very, very well, Doc. He's able to mix it together. He has some lovely striking when he needs to. The pressure is very, very real with Haroon, but when he feels like he's a little bit down in the bout or his opponent's getting some momentum, his level change is always there, and once he hit the mat, it's often very, very difficult for his opponents to work their way back to their feet, but if anybody's going to be able to do so, the Pug has the skills, although right now, Haroon is just kind of slicing through to top mount and making this an incredibly difficult 41 seconds to get out of as the ground and pound being rained down.
That low stam there, got a stun. Doesn't mean no, he can get some more shots off. You're not particularly sure. Haroon's general stam is actually pretty low compared to what it would have been. Gets a deny there, now starting to rain down some shots. Again, another stun, a straight, and another. This is some heavy ground and pound. This you may see this come to the second round and be where Haroon wants to keep the fight.
Yeah, liking what I'm seeing from him. If he's able to get the takedown once again, Doc, I think that he's probably going to be able to get some really good work off. Obviously, he's shown it time and time again and seemed to be having a little bit of an advantage on the mat in that first round, but you never know, that might just be when he's in top. I mean, the Pug is shown to have some great top control as well. Maybe he will opt for the takedown. He may need to. The combinations are bleeding through, and Haroon is looking for the finish at the beginning of the second round.
Haroon is definitely playing aggressive, looking for that finish, and a takedown already within this first round after that knockdown is going to definitely be disheartening towards someone like Pug.
Completely agree with you. A lot of time for Haroon to work at this point. Like you said, going to be demoralizing. Pug seems to be getting a little bit frustrated. Seemed to go for a double transition there. Both of them being denied. Of course, only putting the Pug in a worse position as he now finds himself in the side control. I imagine that the crucifix is something that he's going to be looking for after a denial and a couple of elbows to the face. Definitely Haroon is making this a tough position for the Pug, and he may even get the finish should he be able to stabilize out a little bit more, because no! The Pug gets the stand-up. Great work. That was much needed.
Well, that's what you want as Pug. You need that get up, and now you need to start playing this aggressive game. You throw him there. Nearly got counters, ducks under a jab, straight. Both of them had massive success with that straight. Seems like Haroon got it, and he does again.
Yeah, beautiful work.
KO.
When Haroon is putting together combinations, he's a scary man. He really, really is. And, obviously he wasn't having success that he wanted, Doc. After some nice couple shots landed, obviously the Pug answered back with some cleaner striking. So the takedown set up, obviously a lot of damage on the mat. And once they got back to the feet, he was able to find the hands because the Pug was so worried about that takedown that the hands just were able to come over the top.
Indeed, it's just that fact that as soon, like you saw it in the first round as well, that Haroon had success. He had that pressure, and he had that entire pressure game just to go over and over again and push on this pressure, and Pug had nothing really to answer for it, and when he did, Haroon could answer back very aggressively as well.
Yep, exactly right. So what we are having up next, if I am not mistaken, is going to be the co-main event of the evening. That's going to be LW Kobe's v Karts. Is that fight still on the books here, Doc? I know we had a couple of adjustments here this evening.
Believe so.
Rightio, not to worry. They are just lobbying up as we speak. Okay, yeah, just got the link, sorry, from Kobe's. Kobe is going to be the man that's hosting this one for us, so we appreciate him. And this should be a very interesting fight, Doc. Kobe is shown on the PlayStation side to have some incredible hands, always pushes the action, has a knack for finding the mark often and early. Not a man that needs very much of starting up, or feeling out process. And the same can be said about Carter, although he does get a lot of his best work on the mat. Although that doesn't seem to be the way he's going this evening. he's hovering over Max Holloway, and if that's his pick, be an interesting side to cards that we maybe haven't seen before.
Well, Karts has this both a striking and grappling advantage. Kobe, on the other hand, we've seen typically in a striking sense moved over from the Xbox side. Didn't have much success there, came over to the PS side and has made waves in those positions. So it's going to be, and if they both go Holloway pressure, he does have decent top game, doesn't have the best takedowns, but as we all know, Holloway is an onslaught on the feet.
Exactly right. It appears that maybe a Holloway mirror match is what we're getting. Guys are 4-4 going into this bout. Obviously, we'll reiterate it once again. The entire fight is different when you are in this position, obviously under the bright lights. And that's exactly, why they're probably going to go with the Max Holloway pick here this evening. And it leaves them a lot of options on the feet, Doc. I don't imagine these guys are going to gas. So if there isn't a crazy pace to follow, I'll be, color me surprised.
I would definitely agree. The pace that you would expect two Holloway mirrors to go is quite quick and quite aggressive, similar to the broomstick and knife fight, I would say. And well, it seems a bit Karts is already following suit with that idea.
Nice work. I will have to say, if Kobe's really doesn't push the pace, he is definitely somebody that has brought the pace in every single bout that he's had, regardless of his pick. He now has Max Holloway to do it. He clearly has had the advantage on the feet in the past. Already sits Carter down. He's going to try and get some ground and pound on, but has to be careful not to get pulled into too much of a grappling exchange there, Doc, because Carter, as we mentioned, is incredible on the mat and will, well, he'll ruin your world should you let him.
Yeah, well, that is the thing, though. It's just this, you've got to be wary of the takedown threat. Maybe Volkanovski would have been would have made a better sense of Karts, but you don't know what he's particularly thinking. Maybe he wants to showcase his striking, and so far, Kobe is winning the striking fight.
Yeah, and he landed a couple of good combinations as well, did Karts, but obviously the takedown is what he is looking for at this stage. He has realized that Kobe has some incredible hands and does not want to be engaging with him in that realm early, trying to get this damage off, but a nice little slip from Max Holloway. I say Max Holloway. Kobe's allows him to get back up to the feet, and 2 minutes 50 on the clock. A lot of time for him to get those hands going once again, brother.
Yeah, he really is having a lot of success, and that's what you want as a Holloway player.
As a Holloway player.
Both Holloway players. Defense there does get the defense, but working that body has gassed out Kobe. Goes for a switch kick, doesn't get it. Has got the possibility of flying knee. Instead, we see Kobe going for a takedown. Does get the defense there, and now Kobe in a very dangerous position.
Yeah, he's getting grappled like mad from Karts, and obviously, like I said, he's very, very good. Like an honest gym that we were speaking about a little bit earlier on, Doc, he has a fantastic job of chaining his wrestling together. Max Holloway not exactly the best pick for him, and maybe has to be very cautious he doesn't gas out on the mat, Doc, because of course if Kobe's does find himself back on the feet at any point in this round, he's going to continue that pressure, he's going to continue that combinations, and he's got to give him a reason to be a little bit wary of entering that pocket, and that's going to be damage or well, it's got to be damage, right? He's got to do a lot of damage here.
He has got to do a lot of damage, so far though, Kobe giving Karts grief across the board now, and into the back, sitting 50 seconds left on the clock, goes for a backside, and Kobe can either look to rain down some shots or just disengage, and he chooses to disengage here.
Cannot blame him. Flying knee out of the side of Carter's, trying to work on some of his own striking skills of his own, getting a little bit flashy from it, and catching Kobe's a number of times very, very clean. The mixing up between some technical strikes into some of the more creative opportunities like the flying knees and the spins can often catch your opponents off guards, as Kobe's answered back with a spinning kick to the body, then a lead hook into an uppercut. I have to say, this has been an emphatic pace started out for us in this bout, and I imagine it's going to continue. These guys really, really bring in all of the action that you would expect from Max Holloway to stepping in that cage, never mind the two Max Holloways in the cage.
Yeah, well, they're both putting on this extreme pace. Kobe probably took the first round with a knockdown, but that's not to say Karts is down. You saw he has effective grappling, and he has some success in the striking department, although so far Kobe within this second round has had a lot more success.
Yeah, he's so good on the feet, but as I say that, Carter spinning kicks him to the dome, continues the pressure, and this puts him in a perfect position to mix in some chain wrestling, but The defense is strong with Kobe's, Doc, as he's able to stop another one and is now trying to go back to work with some hands.
Well, Kobe now knows he's down. He's got 4 minutes to work, and if he can get it working on the feet, you're going to have a lot more success. Base over switch the body, and Karts is seemingly starting to feel a lot more comfortable in this second round, although Kobe did have a lot more aggressive start.
We'll have to see what he's able to do with it. Of course, like you say, momentums can be shifted at a moment's notice. Carter really trying to mix all that grappling together, attacking the body with bodies to the knee, and then going up top with the spin kick. A nice way to variate the looks at your opponent, and you know it's going to be very difficult for Kobe's to get reads as a result. So I think that's why we're seeing maybe 4 or 5 punch combinations coming out of Kobe's, is because he's not trying to read his opponent, he's just trying to get his shots out there and lead this dance, so to speak, Doc.
Yeah, he's not looking to put on a technical fight. He's looking just to brute force it. And sometimes on the feet, that's the way it goes. If you get too technical, you don't throw enough. And what Kobe's probably trying to do is just get back get back on that knockdown. And so by brute forcing it, sometimes that's just the way it works.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, nevertheless, they continue onwards. We shall see what he is able to do with it. Nice pressure so far from Kobe's, and obviously from Carter's trying to answer back, but Kobe's doing a great job of holding that center line and mixing up combinations to the body, to the head. The takedown attempt, once again attempted from Carter's, but not successful. I mean, Kobe's really doing a good job of evading that takedown at this stage, and I think that's going to be key to him continuing this pressure and potentially getting the finish.
Yeah, well, Karts, we saw throughout his entire tenure within PT, is that his grappling is what makes him a very effective striker. Kobe, on the other hand, just has very effective striking in general, and so this is the game. Kobe shoots a takedown, doesn't get it, a minute left on the clock, and it's getting knee to the body, uppercut straight, and just this peppering shots by Holloway. Well, Karts is Holloway.
Another one to the body. You love to see it. Couple of shots to the head as well. I mean, the so gassed right now is Carter at this late stage of the second round. His stamina is completely kaput. Kobe's in a good position to turn up the pace should he find the opportunity to, but obviously Carter has shown that he is dangerous from the to the very, very end, and even though this third round is probably going to be a bit of an uphill battle for him, you really, really don't want to count him out at this stage.
You can't really count either one of them out. It's definitely 1-1, I would say. Cart getting a knockdown early on in the second round. Kobe getting a knockdown within the first round. So coming into this round, both of them are looking to put on a showcase just to make sure to kill the round. Cart's probably better off shooting for a takedown. Kobe, on the other hand, better off trying to beat him on the feet. But you're not particularly sure how any of these fights can play out.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we shall see, brother. We shall see what he's able to do. He's going to have to get the takedown if he's going to have success. Otherwise, combinations will rain through for Kobe's, as they did just right there. He has him hurt. He has him starting to back off a little bit, answering back in moments, but the stamina's just not there, Doc. I mean, what can he do other than look for a Hail Mary, because Kobe's is coming forward with that pressure?
Kobe's coming for that pressure. Karts is hurt. He's gassed, and any type of real shot he's going to throw is just going to get clipped. He does.
Y'all want to see a dead body, brother?
He's going to be peeing blood for a bit by the seems of it.
He did, bro. He did.
He did.
Yeah, that's that lovely work by Kobe's. He found some opening for his hands. Obviously had to weather those early storms, Doc. This wasn't an easy fight for him, but once he was able to get his opening for the finish, he took it with both hands, run away with it, and he's going to be feeling very, very happy with beating such a dangerous veteran like Carter. He's been around the scene. He's a dangerous man.
He really was a very dangerous man there. Kobe just having some fun times, just being able to get that right distance, managing it. And with that, he just took the fight. Karts tried that last-ditch effort. They didn't get it, though.
Yeah, well, do you know what time that brings us to, Doc? It brings us to the main event of the evening. We are going to be having the current reigning champion, LW Atikin, up against probably one of the most fan-friendly favorites that you are ever going to see grace the octagon in Primetime MMA or any other promotion for that matter, and that is Bang Bang Ya Dig. This man is nothing but forward pressure, Doc, nothing but non-stop action. He's going to have the pick of Cody Garbrandt to do that with. Obviously has to be wary of that takedown and grappling presence of UFC Turkey, because that man's champion for a reason, and he cannot be slept on.
Yeah, neither of them can be slept on. You got the massive power of just Bang Bang. He will just come at you non-stop. I've said this over and over again. That's just his style. Atkin, on the other hand, we've seen him compete. This is his third title defense, if I remember correctly. He's very effective. He knows how to grapple. He knows how to strike. And Bang Bang has had experiences across the board, so he can grapple. You just don't see it very often.
Yeah, I mean, the simple fact is, like you say, he's trained with some of the best in the past. Previously, EK, you know, obviously trained with the likes of EK Trixie, EK Slick, EK Jakey, and so on. So he's, you know, even Styles as well, you know, he's really trained with some of the best grapplers on the scene. And obviously he's going to have seen everything that UFC Turkey brings to that sort of side of the equation. Of course, Peter Yan up against Rob Font. I think this is a perfect balance for what both guys are going to be able to try and do. Obviously, Rob Font for Bang Bang allows him to utilize that boxing, Doc, and that's going to be a big key to his success. And of course, UFC Turkey with Peter Yan has some hands as well, but of course he can take it down and have some advantages there should he need to.
Indeed. Well, Yan, as we've discussed about 6 different times, is across the board everywhere. We've only discussed Font about once. It's that main reach advantage, making sure that you are in the position where you can't get hit, but both of them are hitting each other. Bang Bang already been dropped right now, and Atkin putting on this pressure.
Yeah, you absolutely love to see it. Front kick attempt to the face. The head kick lands for Bang Bang. This is your main event of the evening. Bang Bang trying to answer it with some huge action already. 3 minutes 35 on the very first round of this 5-round scheduled bout. Bang Bang is not going to allow UFC Turkey off the hook that easily. He really does have a knack for finding the finish, although has to be careful that the champ doesn't find some sort of big counter to even the playing field. But Bang Bang knows no other way, bro. He just marches forward and he causes damage.
He really doesn't know anyway. He's just put on this pressure. Lovely job here by Bang Bang. In fact, he's just non-stop.
Yeah, his block is definitely getting eaten up a little bit. UFC Turkey, the current champion, doing a good job of answering back with some combinations. Bang Bang knows when to, hold them, knows when to fold them, and right now he is holding them, pushing forward, looking for some combinations. Walking onto a couple, has to be careful. The champion definitely starting to find a mark for some of those shots, but the thing that Bang Bang does so great, Doc, is he keeps it simple always. The combinations never too flashy, but always finding their mark. UFC Turkey going for some of the bigger shots, and that may lead out to a knockout, or it could end up getting him, caught going for some big flying kick to the face or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's just a case of who can get the better shots off past that block. Both of them using that jab effectively. We've seen the lead overhand a couple of times, sneaking past that block, but both of them are just trading shot after shot after shot.
Yeah, loving the action that's brought to the table so far. Would not expect anything less from Bang Bang. When he steps in the cage, this is the only way his opponent has, to fight. They have no other choice, because he's going to be in your face every single step of the way, and he is looking to do that here again this evening. Atkin is answering it very, very well, although, finding himself being the kind of matador in this situation, if you will, pressed up against the cage with the bull, wrecking forward, landing shot after shot, and only the upper kick of doom was able to keep him in this and potentially allow him to see the second round.
Indeed, narrowly ducks under the head movement from both opponents, just avoiding it.
We might be seeing a new 8 seconds on the clock, but no, the champ reverses it. Just about sticking in it. We will see a second round, and my God, these guys are bringing the action here this evening. Woo!
Jesus Christ. Bang Bang getting the sudden drop at the end, doesn't get up, kicks the first time around, jumps someone, nearly gets to finish. Atkin getting the reversal. And now we go into the second round. Yeah, this is a scary fight.
Easily on track to be fight of the night. normally is when Bang Bang's involved, to be fair, but you have to say that this is a lot of it's due to having an excellent dance partner in the champion. Gets him rocked at the beginning of the second, he'd make it the finish, and he does. And still, LW Atakin gets his hand raised with a big knockout early in the second round, dog, after getting, sorry to say it, his ass handed to him in the first round to come back and knock out the challenger. That is a big, big moment for the champ, and Turkey's got to be feeling great about answering the odds in that second round to retain his championship.
Yeah, Atkin did a fantastic job. Both of them goes back and forth. He looked very weak at the end of that first round and came back and got that finish. Lovely job by both opponents there.
Yeah, well, that does bring us to the end of the evening. It has been an absolute pleasure calling these fights for you alongside Doctor Who, the Damien Maya main. We are now going to be closing the show out, pushing forward some love within the community and raiding potentially another league. I think MPL is still currently live. I'm just going to have a little check now. And anyway, join up the raid. Make sure to show some love. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. I will personally likely be going live myself to play a little bit of UFC given the next 30 minutes to an hour. That will be Cyrus the Looney on Twitch. Other than that though, guys, stay safe, much love, and we'll see you on Monday with the next one.